Welcome to Motivational Humanity. You are not alone. If you've ever felt confused by love, this isn't about him. It's about what real love never makes you question. Real love brings clarity, not confusion. It has a way of settling the storm inside your mind, even when the world around you feels chaotic. When a man truly loves you, his presence doesn't spark uncertainty or make you question your worth. It creates a quiet sense of safety. You notice it in the little things, the way he listens without interrupting, the way he remembers the details that matter to you, the way he shows up even when it's inconvenient. Love doesn't demand explanations for every action or emotion. Instead, it speaks in consistency, reliability, and thoughtfulness. When you feel safe and seen, you stop overthinking every message, every tone, every pause, because the love itself carries a kind of quiet reassurance. The inner struggle most people face is believing that love has to feel like chaos to be real, that if you aren't anxious, you aren't invested. You might have spent years analyzing words and gestures, trying to decode hidden meanings, replaying moments in your mind and questioning yourself. That constant doubt chips away at your self-worth. But clarity doesn't come from effort or overanalyzing, it comes from alignment. When a man truly loves you, there is alignment between his words, his actions, and the way he treats you. You don't need to guess or wonder, you feel it in your bones. There's a quiet but profound truth here. Love that is real doesn't keep you guessing. It doesn't leave you on the edge of your own fears. It doesn't make you feel that you have to prove your value constantly. Instead, it invites you to breathe, to be present, to trust your instincts again. When you start noticing this, you'll realize that clarity in love is not about perfection. It's about peace, about knowing that you matter, that your emotions matter, and that you are being treated with respect and attention. A practical way to recognize this is to pay attention to how you feel after interactions. Do you feel energized, lighter, calmer? Or do you leave conversations questioning yourself, second-guessing his intentions, or feeling anxious? The answer reveals the truth about the love you're receiving. Notice patterns over time rather than isolated incidents. Trust what the consistency of his actions communicates more than any promises he might make. Real love doesn't need dramatics or grand declarations. It thrives in quiet dependability and the subtle reassurance that you are not alone. When love is real, it makes space for your whole heart. There's a profound difference between someone who accepts you only in fragments, in the parts you think are safe, and someone who sees every corner of your soul and still chooses to stay. A man who truly loves you does not flinch at your feelings. He does not shy away from the parts of you that are messy, complicated, or difficult to understand. Love is not a performance, a test you must pass, or a puzzle you need to solve. It is a presence, a commitment, a willingness to meet you where you are without judgment. The deeper truth is that real love encourages vulnerability, not as a means to an end, but as a way to connect more authentically. You are allowed to feel deeply, to express freely, to share your doubts, fears, and insecurities without fearing rejection or ridicule. Many of us have been conditioned to believe that our emotions are dangerous, that showing them will make others leave. Perhaps you have carried this silent burden of holding back tears, swallowing anxieties, or softening your words because you were afraid of being too much. You might have spent years rehearsing conversations, editing your thoughts, or shrinking yourself to fit into someone else's comfort zone. In those moments, love feels conditional. It feels transactional. It feels like survival rather than nourishment. But when a man truly loves you, these feelings are met with care, patience, and genuine interest. He does not ask you to hide, to minimize, or to perform. He allows you to be fully yourself, knowing that your heart is not a threat, but a gift. Vulnerability is frightening because it exposes us to potential pain. It makes us feel raw, unprotected, and fragile. We carry stories from the past, stories that tell us that if we show too much, we will be rejected, abandoned, or misunderstood. But real love does not exploit your vulnerabilities. It honors them. It is not intimidated by your tears or your questions. Instead, it leans into them, creating a space where you can breathe, speak, and exist without fear. When someone loves you this way, you begin to notice subtle shifts in your own inner dialogue. You no longer have to ration your feelings or hold back your truth. You can say, I am sad, I am scared, or I am angry, and it will be met with acknowledgement rather than avoidance. This is the hallmark of love that is steady and authentic. It does not demand that you shrink yourself to feel safe, The inner struggle most people face is the fear of being rejected for being too much. It is the voice in your head that whispers, if I show this side of me, he won't stay. Or if I'm honest about how I feel, I will be judged or abandoned. These fears are deeply rooted in past experiences and cultural conditioning. They tell you that your emotions are inconvenient, burdensome, or unattractive. But a man who truly loves you does not see your feelings as a burden. He sees them as a window into your heart, a map to your needs, and an invitation to connect more meaningfully. Love that makes space for your whole heart recognizes that your emotions are not flaws. They are signals guiding you toward intimacy, understanding, and mutual respect. It's important to understand that this kind of love does not happen instantly or superficially. It grows over time through consistent actions, attention, and care. It is visible in the way he listens without interrupting, the way he asks questions because he wants to understand, not to challenge, and the way he remembers the things that matter to you, even the small, seemingly insignificant details. He notices when you're tired, when your energy dips, and when your mood shifts. He does not treat your emotional responses as obstacles. He treats them as parts of your humanity. Over time, you begin to trust that your feelings are not a liability in this relationship. You start to feel that it is safe to be fully present with your heart exposed. There is also a quiet courage in loving this way. To make space for someone else's heart requires patience, empathy, and humility. It requires putting aside ego, assumptions, and the need to fix or control. Real love does not try to mold you into someone else's version of perfect. It does not offer solutions to silence your emotions. Instead, it offers presence. The willingness to sit with your joy, your pain, and your uncertainty is a rare and beautiful thing. This is why so many people confuse love with attention, grand gestures, or verbal declarations. Those are temporary and fleeting. What endures is the ability to hold space for another person's heart without judgment, without trying to change it, and without expecting it to behave in ways that are convenient. One of the most transformative realizations in this kind of love is understanding that vulnerability is not weakness. It is strength. It is a declaration that you trust someone enough to show them the deepest parts of yourself. And when someone receives your vulnerability with care and consistency, it becomes a mirror reflecting your own value back to you. You realize that your feelings are valid, your experiences matter, and your inner world is worthy of attention and respect. This is a radical shift for those who have spent a lifetime hiding, editing, or minimizing themselves. Real love validates who you are at your core, not who you pretend to be or who you think you must become to be loved. The practical takeaways are subtle, yet powerful. Begin by observing how your feelings are received in the relationship. When you express yourself honestly, are you met with understanding, curiosity, and patience, or are you met with dismissal, defensiveness, or irritation? These patterns reveal far more than words or promises ever could. Start practicing small acts of emotional honesty. Share one thing that you've been holding back, not to test him, not to manipulate, but simply because your feelings deserve acknowledgement. Notice how it is received. Allow yourself to sit with the result without judgment. Over time, these experiences build a profound sense of security, trust, and connection. Another way to engage with this truth is to pay attention to how you feel in his presence, not just in moments of conversation. Do you feel lighter, freer, more like yourself, or do you feel constrained, anxious, or small? Real love encourages growth and presence. It does not suffocate or control. It does not make you edit or hide parts of yourself to fit into someone else's expectations. When you begin to notice the freedom and ease that comes from being fully seen, it becomes impossible to ignore the difference between genuine love and love that is conditional or performative. It is also important to reflect on your own relationship with vulnerability. Many people who have been hurt in the past carry armor around their hearts. They protect themselves from disappointment by withholding emotions, rehearsing conversations, and preemptively guarding against rejection. While these strategies might have served you in the past, they are incompatible with love that wants to meet you where you are. The courage to lower your defenses, even incrementally, allows the relationship to grow in depth, intimacy, and authenticity. Real love rewards openness, not secrecy. It nurtures rather than penalizes your willingness to share your inner world. Love that makes space for your whole heart also challenges the false narratives you may hold about your worth. when your feelings are acknowledged and met with care, you begin to recognize that your voice matters, that your needs are legitimate, and that your presence is inherently valuable. You no longer have to prove yourself or earn affection through perfection or performance. This realization is revolutionary for anyone who has spent a lifetime believing that love is conditional. You learn to trust your intuition, honor your emotions, and recognize that you are entitled to connection without compromise or fear. In practical terms, start creating space for your own heart. Allow yourself to notice your emotions fully and express them honestly. Observe how they are received in your relationship. Look for patterns of attentiveness, patience, and care. Reflect on moments when your feelings are minimized or dismissed. This is not about judgment. It is about awareness. Awareness creates clarity. Clarity allows you to distinguish between love that nurtures and love that drains. Over time, this awareness becomes a compass guiding you toward relationships that support your emotional well-being, growth, and fulfillment. Finally, understand that love that truly makes space for your whole heart is transformative. It teaches you about yourself, about trust, and about the kind of connection that is possible when two people meet without pretense, fear, or judgment. It shows you that love is not a battleground or a puzzle to solve. It is a sanctuary where you can bring your whole self and be met with care, curiosity, and consistency. It is not about perfection. It is about presence. And when you experience it, you realize that this is what love was meant to feel like all along: safe, expansive, and liberating. True love reveals itself not just in words, but in consistent actions. There is a difference between a declaration that fades with time and behavior that carries the weight of intention. When a man truly loves you, his love is visible in what he does, not only in what he says. It is not measured by grand gestures or fleeting romantic displays, but by the quiet, everyday ways he shows up for you. It is in keeping promises, even when it is inconvenient. It is in remembering the small details that matter to you. It is in showing respect when no one is watching. This kind of love carries a steadiness that allows you to feel safe and supported without having to ask repeatedly, without having to doubt or question every intention. Many of us have grown accustomed to confusing excitement or intensity with love. We are drawn to drama, to the highs and lows, because they feel passionate, because they keep us guessing. But true love is not exhausting. It does not demand constant proof or attention to validate its presence. The struggle most people face is learning to recognize reliability as a profound form of devotion. Actions that align with words create trust. They allow you to relax into the relationship instead of being trapped in anxiety. Over time, you begin to see patterns, consistent care, steady support, and thoughtful gestures, and you start to realize that love does not need to be loud or dramatic to be authentic. It simply needs to be present and dependable. There is an inner tension between hope and reality that many people wrestle with in relationships. You may find yourself hoping that someone's words will eventually match their actions, waiting for them to catch up to your expectations. You might cling to moments of intensity as proof of commitment, even when patterns of inconsistency surround them. This internal conflict creates doubt and emotional exhaustion. Courage in love, however, is about seeing clearly, not about ignoring your feelings or the reality of the relationship. It is about recognizing the difference between promises and patterns, between words and deeds, and having the strength to trust what is consistently demonstrated over time. True love also requires emotional courage from both sides. When a man consistently shows up, he communicates that he values your feelings, your time, and your presence. This is not always easy. Life is unpredictable, challenges arise, and personal struggles appear. But consistent effort is a sign of commitment. It is a choice made daily, sometimes quietly, sometimes without recognition. It is this unwavering dedication that forms the foundation of trust. When you see someone making choices that align with their words and intentions, it allows you to lean into the relationship with confidence. You no longer have to brace yourself for disappointment or scan every action for hidden meaning. You can allow yourself to be present, knowing that the love expressed is real and enduring. The inner struggle for many is learning to value consistency over intensity. It is natural to be drawn to passion, to the moments that make your heart race, but these fleeting experiences do not sustain a relationship. True love is measured in the steady, deliberate ways a man demonstrates care. It is shown when he remembers the things you've mentioned in passing, when he checks in without being prompted, when he takes responsibility without excuses. These actions communicate more about his commitment than any declarations ever could. Recognizing this requires a shift in perspective to understand that love is lived, not just said. A practical way to engage with this truth is to pay attention to patterns over time rather than isolated incidents. Observe how he treats you in ordinary moments, the quiet evenings, the stressful days, the times when no one else is around. Notice if his words align with his actions consistently. This awareness allows you to separate hope from reality, expectation from truth. It is not about cynicism or judgment. It is about clarity. When patterns are consistent, you can trust them. When they are inconsistent, you gain insight into whether the love you are receiving is real or performative. Courage in love is recognizing these patterns and honoring them with honesty and reflection, even when it challenges your desires or hopes. Another inner struggle is the temptation to excuse or rationalize inconsistency. Sometimes people justify broken promises or missed actions with explanations that feel reasonable: stress, work, forgetfulness. But repeated patterns cannot be ignored. True love is not dependent on excuses. It is visible in reliability. Actions that consistently align with words reveal respect, prioritization, and intention. Over time, you learn to trust these signals more than fleeting apologies or declarations of love. This requires self-respect and awareness, the courage to see the relationship clearly and honor your own emotional needs. It is not about expecting perfection. It is about recognizing genuine effort and integrity. Courage also manifests in how you respond to these consistent actions. When someone demonstrates love through effort and presence, it invites you to meet them with openness and gratitude. It allows you to step into vulnerability, to allow yourself to be cared for, and to trust the relationship without constant self-protection. This is one of the most transformative experiences in love, to feel that your heart can rest, that you do not have to continually prove your worth or earn affection. Consistent actions repeated over time are not only signs of love, they are invitations to trust, to be present, and to experience intimacy in its most authentic form. Love that carries the weight of consistent action is transformative because it shifts the way you view relationships. It teaches patience, discernment, and emotional awareness. It shows that the quiet, steady gestures, the simple acts of presence, care, and attentiveness carry more meaning than any dramatic display of affection. It reminds you that love is a verb, not just a noun. It is lived moment to moment through choices, efforts, and actions that speak louder than words. In recognizing this, you gain clarity, confidence, and emotional resilience. You learn to appreciate steadiness over flash, presence over promises, and integrity over performance. A practical takeaway is to observe the alignment between words and actions over time. Notice how he responds when life becomes difficult, when plans change, or when emotions run high. Pay attention to whether he follows through on small promises, the ones that seem almost insignificant, but carry the weight of reliability. Notice whether his behavior communicates respect and prioritization. By attuning yourself to these patterns, you develop a clear understanding of the love being offered. You also cultivate the courage to honor these signals, allowing yourself to be fully present without doubt, anxiety, or overanalysis. Another action is to reflect on how consistent effort makes you feel. Do you feel safe, supported, and seen, or do you feel uncertain and second-guessing? This self-awareness is critical because it helps you distinguish between love that nourishes and love that depletes. Courage in love is not just about recognizing effort. It is about trusting your own perception, your intuition, and your emotional responses. When consistent actions align with your understanding of care, you can engage in the relationship with confidence, openness, and a willingness to grow together. True love expressed through consistent action also fosters reciprocity, not obligation. It encourages both partners to show up for one another, to meet needs, and to engage in meaningful connection. It demonstrates that love is a choice, made repeatedly, often quietly, without expectation of reward or recognition. This understanding transforms the way you approach intimacy. You begin to see love as something that is nurtured through effort, attention, and presence, rather than a fleeting emotion or a transaction. You recognize that steady, deliberate actions carry the deepest meaning and build a foundation of trust that lasts. Finally, this lesson in courage and consistent action teaches that love is most powerful when it is demonstrated, not performed. It is not about grand gestures or dramatic declarations. It is about showing up every day in ways that align with words and intentions. It is about recognizing and valuing these patterns. It is about trusting your own perceptions and honoring your own needs for consistency, reliability, and care. Over time, you begin to see the profound difference between love that is performative and love that is genuine. This awareness allows you to engage fully, trust deeply, and experience connection in its most authentic, grounding, and transformative form. True love does not make you prove your worth. It does not demand that you perform, earn, or shrink yourself to fit someone else's expectations. When a man truly loves you, he sees you as complete, whole, and worthy simply because you exist. There is no test, no set of standards to pass, and no constant need for reassurance. Love that is real meets you where you are, accepts your imperfections, and celebrates your essence. It does not require you to alter your personality, hide your flaws, or suppress your opinions to maintain his affection. Instead, it allows you to breathe freely, to be fully present, and to feel valued for exactly who you are, in both your strengths and vulnerabilities. Many people carry stories from the past that tell them they must earn love, that they are not enough, or that their feelings are only valid if they are pleasing. These stories often come from childhood, from past relationships, or from cultural messages that link worth to performance. We learn to minimize our emotions, edit our behavior, and mold ourselves to meet the expectations of others. In doing so, we lose sight of our authentic selves. We forget that our voice matters, that our heart matters, and that our presence alone is worthy of care and respect. When someone truly loves you, he does not participate in these narratives. He sees through them and affirms your intrinsic value. His love allows you to rewrite the story you have been telling yourself, a story of scarcity, of doubt, of fear, and replace it with one of recognition, acceptance, and self-respect. The inner struggle many face in this context is the pressure to perform and the fear of rejection. You might catch yourself constantly asking, am I enough? Did I say the right thing? Did I do something wrong? This fear often manifests as over-apologizing, people-pleasing, or even self-sabotage. But true love dissolves this fear because it is consistent, steady, and unconditional. It does not hinge on your ability to meet expectations or manage every detail perfectly. Instead, it rests on the fundamental understanding that you are inherently valuable. This realization is liberating. It allows you to stop bending yourself into shapes that feel unnatural and start standing in the fullness of who you are. Real love also encourages change, but not the kind that asks you to diminish yourself. The change it inspires is empowering, transformative, and liberating. It invites you to step into your own life with courage and authenticity. It asks you to release limiting beliefs, old patterns, and narratives that have kept you small or doubtful. Love of this kind is not coercive. It does not manipulate or shame. It is a mirror reflecting the potential that already exists within you. When someone truly loves you, their care provides the space and support to explore growth, to face fears, and to reclaim the parts of yourself that you may have hidden or abandoned. This is the kind of change that is sustainable and life-affirming because it is rooted in acceptance, not obligation. A practical manifestation of this is noticing the moments when you feel empowered to speak your truth without fear of judgment or reprisal. Observe how he reacts when you assert your boundaries, share your needs, or express discomfort. In love that honors your worth, these moments are met with respect, curiosity, and understanding, not defensiveness or criticism. This consistent response reinforces the idea that your feelings, your choices, and your boundaries matter. Over time, you internalize this truth and begin to let go of the old story that love must be earned through constant compromise or self-effacement. You start to understand that your inherent value does not depend on anyone's approval, and that real love supports rather than diminishes your sense of self. Another aspect of this lesson is recognizing the power of choice in love. Every day you have the opportunity to choose the story you tell yourself about who you are and what you deserve. When love is present, it provides clarity and affirmation that you are worthy, which in turn allows you to make choices that align with your true self rather than fear or obligation. You no longer feel trapped by past experiences or limiting beliefs. You can consciously rewrite your narrative, embracing the understanding that you do not need to shrink, hide, or earn affection through performance. This shift is profound. It changes the way you approach relationships, challenges, and life itself. You begin to operate from a place of empowerment rather than scarcity, from courage rather than fear. The inner struggle that accompanies this realization is often subtle but persistent. Old habits die hard. You might find yourself slipping back into self-doubt, questioning your worth, or attempting to modify your behavior to meet perceived expectations. This is natural, and it is part of the human experience. The difference now is that you have evidence to challenge these thoughts. You have a model of love that does not demand performance. You have seen firsthand that consistent care, presence, and respect do not require you to earn affection. They are given freely because you are inherently valuable. Recognizing this allows you to confront the old story with compassion and determination, gradually replacing fear-based patterns with empowerment-based behaviors. Love that allows you to rewrite your story also teaches patience. Transformation does not happen overnight. Releasing old narratives, unlearning self-doubt, and embracing your inherent worth is a gradual process. There will be moments of regression, times when insecurity or fear creeps back in, and days when the old story feels louder than the new one. But love that honors your worth provides the safety to navigate these moments without shame or judgment. It encourages self-reflection, gentle correction, and perseverance. The presence of consistent, unconditional care becomes a stabilizing force, reminding you that growth is possible and that your value is unwavering. A practical approach to engaging with this lesson is to reflect on the beliefs you have held about love and worth. Ask yourself, which narratives have shaped the way I approach relationships? Which fears or doubts have I internalized as truths? How does the love I am receiving challenge or affirm these beliefs? By bringing awareness to these questions, you create the space to consciously choose a new story, one that affirms your worth, embraces vulnerability, and honors your needs. This is not a theoretical exercise. It is a lived practice, reflected in the way you communicate, set boundaries, and engage with both yourself and others. Another action is to observe how freedom manifests in the relationship. Real love does not constrain, it liberates. Notice the ways in which you feel freer to express your feelings, pursue your interests, and be fully yourself. Compare this to relationships or patterns in your past where you may have felt obligated to shrink, perform, or hide aspects of your identity. Recognize the contrast and let it guide your understanding of what love truly looks like. Over time, these observations reinforce the lesson that love is not earned through perfection. It is nurtured through presence, authenticity, and mutual respect. Finally, this lesson emphasizes that rewriting your story is not about changing who you are to fit someone else's idea of love. It is about reclaiming your narrative from fear, doubt, and old conditioning. It is about recognizing that your value is inherent, that your emotions are valid, and that your heart deserves care without having to prove itself. True love creates a safe environment for this transformation. It supports your growth, honors your boundaries, and encourages you to step into your life with confidence and authenticity. When you internalize this understanding, you realize that love is not a performance or a transaction. It is a mirror, reflecting back the truth of your worth, the strength of your heart, and the power you hold to live fully and fearlessly. True love does not ask you to disappear, it asks you to expand. It does not demand that you limit yourself, silence your voice, or shrink to fit into someone else's expectations. Instead, love that is real makes room for who you are becoming, for the evolution of your heart, mind, and spirit. It supports your growth, even when that growth is messy, uncertain, or challenging. When a man truly loves you, he celebrates your progress, encourages your aspirations, and holds space for your dreams, knowing that your individuality is not a threat but a gift. Love in this form is expansive, freeing, and empowering. It does not stifle curiosity, ambition, or authenticity. It nurtures them. Many people struggle to recognize this because growth is often accompanied by discomfort. Change requires courage, and stepping into your true self can be frightening. You may feel vulnerable, unsure, or even guilty as you assert your independence, explore your passions, or set boundaries that were previously neglected. There is often an inner voice that whispers, will he still love me if I become more of who I am? Or am I asking too much by wanting space, freedom, or growth? In relationships that are conditional, these fears are justified. They reflect the reality of being loved only when performing, pleasing, or meeting expectations. But in love that is genuine, these fears are met with understanding and support. True love does not resist your evolution. It encourages it, celebrates it, and participates in it with quiet strength. The inner struggle most people face in this context is balancing closeness and individuality. Many individuals subconsciously believe that love requires merging completely, sacrificing personal dreams, or suppressing one's voice. This creates anxiety, resentment, and a sense of being trapped. Real love dismantles this misconception by demonstrating that connection and growth are not mutually exclusive. When a man truly loves you, he does not feel threatened by your independence or your journey. He does not attempt to control, limit, or redirect your path to suit his comfort. Instead, he respects your autonomy and cherishes the person you are becoming. This understanding transforms the way you experience intimacy. You no longer have to fear losing yourself to love because love in its healthiest form honors your whole self. Growth in love also requires courage from both parties. It is not passive, it is active. It involves the willingness to face discomfort, challenge old patterns, and confront insecurities. When love supports growth, it becomes a catalyst for self-discovery. You begin to see yourself more clearly, to recognize your strengths and weaknesses, and to embrace the parts of yourself that you may have previously hidden or denied. This process is not linear. It comes with setbacks, doubt, and moments of fear, but the presence of a partner who respects and encourages your evolution transforms these challenges into opportunities for empowerment. You learn to trust yourself, to act with intention, and to engage with life from a place of authenticity. Practical growth manifests in daily choices. It appears in the decisions you make to honor your needs, assert your boundaries, and pursue your passions. You notice whether he encourages these choices or attempts to minimize them. Does he celebrate when you achieve a goal, speak your truth, or take a risk? Does he offer support without judgment or resentment? These moments reveal whether the love you're experiencing is expansive or restrictive. Love that fosters growth nurtures confidence, resilience, and self-respect. It allows you to explore your capabilities, embrace your desires, and step fully into your life, knowing that you are valued, not for what you do or achieve, but for who you are at your core. Another profound aspect of this type of love is its effect on self-perception. When someone loves you while encouraging growth, it challenges the internalized narratives that you are not enough, that your voice is insignificant, or that your dreams are secondary. You begin to internalize the understanding that your existence, your ambitions, and your evolution are valid and worthy of attention. This realization has a ripple effect. It empowers you to set higher standards for yourself, to pursue meaningful connections, and to refuse relationships that demand compromise at the cost of your authenticity. Growth in love teaches discernment. It allows you to distinguish between love that nurtures and love that restricts, between connection that frees and connection that confines. The inner struggle, however, is often subtle. You may feel guilty for prioritizing your own growth, worry that seeking space or independence signals a lack of commitment, or fear that asserting your individuality will threaten the relationship. These feelings are natural, but they are rooted in a misunderstanding of love. True love does not diminish when you expand, it strengthens. It thrives on the mutual respect for each person's journey, the acknowledgement that each partner brings their full self to the relationship, and the willingness to evolve together without control or coercion. Recognizing this allows you to approach love with confidence, courage, and a sense of freedom. A practical way to embrace this lesson is to actively pursue one area of personal growth while observing the response it elicits in your partner. It could be pursuing a passion, setting a boundary, or exploring a new interest. Notice whether his response is supportive, encouraging, and celebratory, or whether it evokes discomfort, resistance, or criticism. These responses communicate far more about the health of the relationship than any words ever could. Growth in love is not only about self-expansion, it is also about recognizing whether the environment in which you are growing is safe, nurturing, and authentic. Love that promotes growth also teaches patience, both with oneself and with the process. Change does not occur overnight, and embracing freedom while maintaining connection can be challenging. There will be moments when insecurity creeps in, when old fears resurface, and when progress feels slow. Real love accommodates this rhythm. It allows space for mistakes, reflection, and recalibration. It understands that growth is a journey, not a destination, and it encourages you to move forward with compassion and courage. By embodying this perspective, you learn to trust the process of both personal evolution and relational development, understanding that each step, no matter how small, is meaningful. Another important aspect of growth and love is mutual inspiration. When someone loves you while making space for your evolution, it often inspires growth in them as well. The relationship becomes a shared journey of exploration, understanding, and self-discovery. You notice that his presence does not feel like a constraint, but a catalyst, a force that encourages both partners to be more courageous, more authentic, and more fully themselves. This dynamic transforms love from a static experience into a living, breathing journey where both individuals feel empowered to evolve without fear of judgment or rejection. Finally, embracing freedom and love reinforces your sense of agency and purpose. You begin to see that your life is yours to shape, your choices are valid, and your dreams are deserving of pursuit. Love that nurtures growth validates your autonomy while fostering connection, proving that intimacy and independence are not opposites, but complementary forces. Over time, this realization shifts the way you engage in relationships, approach life, and understand your own value. You internalize the truth that love does not require you to abandon your identity, suppress your voice, or shrink your potential. Instead, it invites you to step into the fullness of who you are, to embrace freedom, and to experience the profound joy of being truly known, accepted, and celebrated. This kind of love changes everything. It transforms fear into courage, limitation into expansion, and doubt into clarity. It shows that growth is not a threat, but a foundation for deeper intimacy, resilience, and fulfillment. By recognizing, embracing, and nurturing this truth, you empower yourself to live fully, love authentically, and step boldly into the life you were meant to lead. True love, in its most transformative form, is not about control, expectation, or obligation. It is about freedom, expansion, and the boundless possibilities of two hearts evolving together while honoring the essence of each individual.